Somewhere off the coast of a country you'll never be told, a vessel is moving through the ocean at a depth of over 300 meters. It has been underwater for 77 days straight. The crew of 140 people have not seen sunlight in over 2 months. They are not running out of food, or oxygen, or power, because the machine they are riding generates its own electricity from a nuclear reactor, splits hydrogen from seawater to produce breathable air, and carries enough provisions to stay submerged for 6 months. The only reason it will surface is because the humans inside need to. This machine is a nuclear submarine, and building one is so complex, so secretive, and so demanding that fewer than 6 countries on Earth are capable of doing it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how it's made. A nuclear submarine is not just a weapon. It is the single most expensive, most technologically sophisticated moving object that human civilization manufactures. A Virginia-class submarine, the backbone of the United States Navy's attack fleet, costs approximately $3.4 billion per year.
The Columbia-class ballistic missile submarines, currently under construction, will cost closer to $9 billion each, and the United Kingdom's Dreadnought-class program, intended to replace its aging Vanguard submarines, carries an estimated total program cost of over £31 billion. These machines are the ultimate deterrent. A ballistic missile submarine can disappear beneath the ocean and remain undetectable for months, carrying enough nuclear firepower to alter the course of civilization. Their existence is what keeps the concept of mutually assured destruction functional.
As long as they exist and remain hidden, no rational adversary launches a first strike, because they can never be certain they've neutralized the response. And yet, almost nobody has ever seen one built. The shipyards where this happens are among the most restricted places on Earth. It begins, like most extraordinary things, with raw materials.
But not ordinary ones. The hull of a nuclear submarine is constructed from a steel alloy called HY80 or HY100, the numbers referring to the yield strength in thousands of pounds per square inch. This steel can withstand pressures of over 1,000 pounds per square inch without fracturing. To put that in perspective, the pressure at a depth of 300 meters, a typical operating depth, is about 30 times atmospheric pressure at sea level. The hull must not just resist that pressure, it must resist it indefinitely, perfectly, everywhere at once.
HY80 steel is produced at a small number of specialized steel mills in the United States and United Kingdom. It contains precise ratios of nickel, chromium, molybdenum, and vanadium, along with ultra-low sulfur content. The production of a single batch must meet specifications so tight that each heat, each pour from the furnace, is individually certified and tracked. The steel plates that arrive at the shipyard are anywhere from 1 to 2 inches thick, and each one comes with a full chemical and mechanical history. Transporting these plates to the shipyard requires flatbed trucks capable of carrying loads exceeding 50 tons.
Some plates are so large they can only be moved at night with police escorts because they extend beyond normal lane widths. The shipyard receiving them has cranes rated for hundreds of tons because a single curved hull section can weigh more than a loaded semi-truck. The construction begins not as a single vessel, but as a collection of modules. Modern nuclear submarine construction, particularly at Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut, and Huntington Ingalls Industries in Newport News, Virginia, the only 2 yards in America capable of building nuclear submarines, uses a modular construction approach.
The submarine is divided into roughly 11 to 14 major hull sections, each one built simultaneously in different parts of the shipyard. Each module is essentially a steel cylinder between 30 and 50 feet in diameter, with walls up to 2 inches thick. Rolling and forming these cylinders requires massive hydraulic presses and plate rollers that can bend steel 2 inches thick into a precise curve.
The tolerances are extraordinary. The circumference of a hull section must be accurate to within fractions of an inch, because when 2 sections are welded together, any misalignment creates a stress concentration.
that at depth becomes catastrophic. The welding itself is not done by hand, not primarily. Automated welding systems run continuous, monitored weld passes along the seams. But here's what most people don't realize. Every single weld on a pressure hull is inspected using ultrasonic testing. Sound waves are fired through the steel, and the reflections analyzed for voids, inclusions, or cracks invisible to the naked eye. If any defect is found, the weld is cut out entirely and redone. There is no patching. There is no good enough. At 300 meters of depth, a weld flaw the size of a pencil eraser can propagate into a fracture that floods a compartment in seconds. While the hull sections are being formed and welded, the reactor compartment is being built separately, and this is where the classified nature of nuclear submarine construction becomes most intense. The S9G reactor, used in Virginia-class submarines, or the PWR-3 reactor in the UK's Astute class, is a pressurized water reactor. It uses enriched uranium fuel that has been processed to a level far above civilian power plant fuel. The reactor core is designed to last the entire life of the submarine, roughly 33 years, without refueling. That means the fuel loaded at the shipyard in Groton will still be powering the submarine when it is finally decommissioned in the 2050s. The reactor compartment is essentially a submarine within the submarine. It is sealed during construction, and once sealed, the number of people permitted to work inside is strictly controlled and logged. Every tool that goes in is counted. Every tool that comes out is counted. If a tool goes missing, a wrench, a bolt driver, anything, work stops entirely until it is found, because a loose metallic object inside a reactor compartment during operation is not just a maintenance problem, it is potentially a catastrophic one. The reactor vessel itself arrives at the shipyard from specialized manufacturers. Bechtel in the United States plays a significant role in the naval reactor program and is installed as a complete unit. The piping systems, the primary coolant loops that carry heat from the reactor to the steam generators, are welded using techniques borrowed from nuclear power plant construction, then X-rayed and pressure tested before any hull section is closed around them. This is where things get particularly fascinating. Each module, hull section, reactor compartment, torpedo room, crew quarters, control room, is fully outfitted with its systems before the sections are joined together. Thousands of miles of wire, fiber optic cable, hydraulic piping, and ventilation ducting are installed while the modules are still open and accessible. Imagine building the inside of a building before assembling the walls around it. That is exactly what happens here. The reason is simple but profound. Once a nuclear submarine is sealed and complete, you cannot get inside most of its systems without cutting through the hull. So everything has to be right the first time. Every cable run, every pipe fitting, every piece of equipment. The interior of a Virginia-class submarine contains approximately 1.4 million parts.
Some of them, acoustic tiles bonded to the outer hull, special anechoic coatings designed to absorb sonar waves, are so classified that the contractors who make them don't know their full purpose. When the modules are finally joined together, the process is called hull erection, and it requires the largest crane systems in the shipyard. At Electric Boat, massive overhead cranes, rated for 600 tons, lift each module and position it with millimeter precision. The mating faces must align perfectly before welding begins, because at this stage, a misalignment cannot be corrected without dismantling weeks of work.
But the most impressive part of building a nuclear submarine is not the hull. It is not the reactor. It is not even the combat systems. It is the silence. A nuclear submarine's greatest tactical asset is its acoustic invisibility. The noise a submarine makes, its acoustic signature, determines whether an enemy can detect it. And the engineering required to make a 7,900-ton steel vessel running a nuclear reactor completely silent is among the most demanding challenges in all of manufacturing. Every piece of rotating machinery aboard, pumps, motors, generators, the main propulsion turbines, is mounted on a system of vibration-isolating rafts. These rafts float on rubber mounts, isolating the machinery from the hull so that vibrations cannot travel through the steel and radiate as sound into the water. The raft systems are engineered to dampen specific frequency ranges, and tuning them requires acoustic measurements taken in specialized facilities before installation. The propeller, called a screw, is a work of art in itself. Modern nuclear submarine propellers are 7-bladed, highly skewed designs, the blades curved backward in a shape that looks almost organic.
This geometry is specifically designed to prevent cavitation, the formation of vapor bubbles that collapse with a sharp crack, the submarine equivalent of ringing a bell underwater. The precise blade geometry of these propellers is one of the most classified pieces of information in naval defense. Each propeller is machined from a single casting of a nickel-aluminum-bronze alloy in a process that takes weeks. A 5-axis CNC machine cuts the blade surfaces to tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch. The finished propeller for a Virginia-class submarine is roughly 20 feet in diameter and weighs over 12 tons.
Before the submarine ever goes near water, every system is tested at dockside. This process takes months. Shore power and cooling water connections simulate the submarine's eventual operating environment. The reactor is started up for the first time, a process called initial criticality, in the presence of Naval Reactors personnel and observed under protocols developed by Admiral Hyman Rickover, the father of the nuclear navy. Protocols that have not changed in fundamental philosophy since the 1950s. Every valve, every circuit, every piece of emergency equipment is tested to failure mode scenarios.
What happens if this pump stops? What happens if that valve sticks? What if this sensor gives a false reading? The scenarios are run thousands of times, in sequence and in combination. Crews who will sail the submarine train on the vessel while it is still dockside, so they know every inch of it before it leaves the pier. Then comes the moment that separates nuclear submarine construction from every other manufacturing process on Earth: the sea trial. The submarine is towed out of the shipyard for the first time, descends beneath the surface, and is taken to its test depth, which exceeds its rated operating depth, to verify that the hull performs exactly as the engineers designed it. Pressure sensors inside measure hull deflection. Every weld, every penetration, every fitting is monitored. If anything moves in a way that was not predicted, the submarine surfaces and returns to the shipyard. Most don't have to. Here are some numbers that put this all into perspective.
A Virginia-class submarine is 377 feet long, longer than a football field, and 34 feet in diameter. It displaces about 7,900 tons of water when submerged. Its nuclear reactor generates approximately 30,000 shaft horsepower, driving it to speeds in excess of 25 knots underwater. It can dive to depths classified beyond 800 feet. Its combat system can simultaneously track dozens of targets, launch torpedoes or cruise missiles, and conduct intelligence collection operations, all at the same time. Building one takes approximately 84 months from contract to delivery.
Even with 2 shipyards working simultaneously, the United States can produce only about 2 Virginia-class submarines per year, a production rate that the Navy has repeatedly stated is insufficient for current strategic requirements. The workforce at Electric Boat in Groton includes approximately 15,000 people. About 1,800 of them are certified nuclear welders, one of the most specialized trades in existence. Training a nuclear welder takes years. Losing one to a competitor or retirement represents a significant, non-trivial capability loss.
The anechoic tiles bonded to the submarine's outer hull, the rubber tiles that absorb sonar waves, require specialized adhesive that takes days to cure under controlled temperature and humidity conditions. If even one tile delaminates during operations and falls off, the acoustic signature of the vessel changes in ways detectable to sophisticated adversaries. 6 nations currently operate nuclear-powered submarines: the United States, Russia, China, the United Kingdom, France, and India.
A 7th,
Australia is in the process of acquiring them through the AUKUS partnership, which involves the unprecedented transfer of nuclear submarine technology from the United States and United Kingdom to an ally. Russia operates the largest fleet, including the Belgorod, the longest submarine ever built at 608 feet, capable of carrying nuclear-armed autonomous underwater vehicles. China is expanding its submarine fleet faster than any other nation, with construction happening at facilities in Huludao and Wuhan at a pace that has significantly concerned Western naval planners.
The supply chain for a single Virginia-class submarine spans over 4,000 suppliers across 46 American states. Some components, specific types of bearings, specialized electronics, certain alloys, have only one supplier in the entire country. A disruption to any one of them can ripple into shipyard delays measured in months. When the submarine is finally commissioned, when the crew officially takes ownership from the shipyard, it enters service as a machine that will spend the majority of its operational life doing something almost no other vehicle on Earth does. Nothing visible. It will patrol.
It will listen. It will watch. And its greatest achievement, operationally, will be that nobody ever knows exactly where it is. What began as plates of certified high-yield steel in a specialized mill, moving through hydraulic rollers, automated welding systems, nuclear component installation, acoustic engineering, and months of testing, becomes an invisible instrument of national power. A vessel that can circle the Earth without surfacing, armed with enough capability to reshape geopolitics, crewed by people who volunteer to disappear beneath the ocean for months at a time. There is nothing else like it built anywhere on Earth.
The next generation of submarines is already being designed. The Columbia class in the United States, the Dreadnought class in the United Kingdom, the Type 096 in China. Each one more capable, more silent, and more expensive than the last. And somewhere in the world right now, a shipyard full of the most skilled tradespeople in existence is cutting steel, welding seams, and building something that most people will never see.
What part of this process shocked you most? The reactor that never needs refueling? The propeller geometry classified at the highest levels of government? The acoustic engineering that makes 7,900 tons of steel disappear from sonar screens? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the most complex manufacturing processes on the planet, subscribe. The next one is even more extraordinary.